Incredibly great news to start the morning as the president restarts negotiations for your second stimulus check. Yes, 48 hours after he calls off the negotiations, 24 hours after he tells Steve to go back to talk to Nancy about the airlines, this morning he announced the bigger news that the airlines has triggered him to go back into the stimulus negotiation for all of us. This is 28. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the morning edition of 28. 28 days of the election. Today is 26. Thank you for joining me on now the biggest, most watched midday stimulus show on the Netco Photos channel. Subscribe. I really appreciate your patronage in a day that is so categorically exciting. I have great news across the board. Also like this video. The efforts of the Purple Power have really paid off. I mean, you have absolutely categorically paid off. And in this video, I'll explain to you why your efforts have been so incredibly positive and rewarding. Steve Mnuchin did talk to Nancy Pelosi yesterday, but chatted. It didn't really negotiate. And in this video, I'll go over with you where they are today. I know it may be very confusing for you. Someone said it's like whiplash stimulus style. I will explain to you where they are. What are the deal points? How soon you can get stimulus checks? Where are the points at which you should manipulate the situation opportunistically for the Purple Power and get things added to this negotiations that have been removed? And finally, why we should not change our focus because they keep on changing theirs. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is the day started with a complete reversal. Complete reversal by the President of the United States. And the reversal came amidst a series of other factors. First, I'll tell you the reversal, and then I'll tell you the factors. The reversal is stimulus chats are back on. Now, this is for legislatively. So I want to make this very clear. Most of the Purple Power community, the followers of this channel, understand the differences of what's going on. He had called off negotiations for stimulus laws to go through Congress 48 hours ago. He did not call off the possibility of him doing stimulus by executive order. And he also didn't say, I'm not going to give stimulus before the election. He said, I'm stopping stimulus negotiations for purposes of legislative action in Congress, which is totally different. Today, what he said was, I'm reverting my policies and we're going back into the stimulus negotiations for more stimulus relief by act of Congress. This is categorically incredible great news. Now, what does that mean, and what does it mean to a lot of different people and a lot of different interpretations? Here's my opinion. My opinion is we've been played with before, so we're not going to be played with again. So what you need to do, Purple Power, is push, push, push. You need to make clear the agenda of the Purple Power, the agenda of the followers of this channel, to make sure that's into this negotiation, and that other people who are running from the sidelines trying to jump in front of us like it's, cutting in front of us for, that Barbie doll around the holidays. You don't want them to cut in front of you to get stimulus before you. So make it clear the agenda of the Purple Power. And here we go. $1,200 stimulus checks, individuals. $2,400 checks for married couple. That's agreed upon for both parties. We don't have a problem with that. It's the dependents that we have a problem with. Nancy, I almost cursed. Nancy took out the $1,200 dependents checks. What did she do? What are you doing, Nancy? What are you doing? $1,200 should be the amount for the dependents checks. The Republicans have never wanted to give dependents $1,200 stimulus checks. I don't know why. That's a bunch of hogwash. Come on, let's do $1,200 for dependents checks. Next, no one's taken out for child support. No one's taken out for taxes or collections. So that's all very clear. Additionally, the amount of people in a household needs to be made clear. It needs to be a 5-person household. 5 times $1,200, $6,000. So if you're a married couple and 3 kids, $6,000. If you're a single mom, 4 kids. Did I do that right? Mom, 4 kids. Yeah, that's family 5. $6,000. Doing math on camera is even harder than doing math if you're Larry Kudlow with a calculator in front of you. All right, so that's all great news. FPUC. FPUC needs to get fixed. Needs to get fixed. More than, more's the cat. FPUC 2.0 needs to be reached retroactive, folks, back to the end of July. What are we doing here with this new version of Nancy's idea to do it retroactive to September 5th? What's September 5th? I just, someone explain to me what September 5th is. It doesn't make any sense. Nancy is at $600. That also makes no sense. But she also is retroactively later than earlier. So you know what, Nancy? I'll give you money I'll give your constituents money by going back retroactively further to July. You're only going back to September. You're screwing people out of 5 weeks of benefits. Go back further to when FPUC expired, and then let's do it at the problem solvers amount. That's higher than Steve, lower than you. So it's $450 for 8 weeks, 5 weeks thereafter, $600, and let's get rid of all that excess stuff that I never talk about because it's too confusing. No $100 minimum for LWA. That's gone. All very simple. Steve, your $400, you've had the same number since July. Come on, my buddy. My buddy, $400 ain't gonna cut it. Nancy, I'll throw in an extra hairdressers, some coupons to Supercuts. Let's get off the $600. No one wants it. Let's all come up with some Supercuts coupons for Nancy. Let's get off of $600, and we'll get down to $450 for 8 weeks and $600 for 5 weeks thereafter. It's so simple, Nance. All right, let's do the rest of it. Rent aid. I don't think there's a problem with rent aid. I don't think there's a problem with student loan forgiveness, student mortgage forbearance. I don't think there's a problem with eviction moratorium. There is a problem with hazard pay. Hazard pay, Nance, you're going to get fried, you're going to get tarred and feathered, and I don't mean by peacocks, and I don't mean by Pete the Peacock that watches the channel. How dare you take out hazard pay, and you appear on The View, and you talk about taking the interests of the heroes of America at heart daily? Jeez, I mean, I don't even know how you say that with a straight face. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Nancy Pelosi took out hazard pay in her last revision of the stimulus bill 2 weeks ago. Took it out. The Republicans have never put it in, those cheap people. So what we need is Mitt Romney to step up. You need to be tagging Mitt Romney, Purple Power. You need to get Mitt Romney to wake. I haven't heard from Mitt Romney in a while. What is he doing? Is he like at the getting the Travis Scott special deal at McDonald's? What is Mitt Romney doing? Mitt, are you there? Hello, Mitt. Mitt has the best hazard pay bill out there. It's introduced to the Senate. It's Republican. It requires the employer to pay you. This is categorically incredible. So Mitt's plan is the one that needs to be in there because one, you'll get the money. It'll be required to get you the money. 2, it's good money. 3, if you worked any time during the pandemic, you get the money. Whether you're laid off or rehired or furloughed, you're going to get the money. Earlier time, you get the money. It's a lot of money, my friends. Next, EIDL grant and EIDL loan. First, you got to make these provisions clear. They're a little too vague. Javita's going to take her scarf and just pull it around you and just say, hey, it's like a piñata. Just spin around and I'll figure out where you land. No, you can't do EIDL vague like you're doing it again. So you need to pay people who had not gotten their EIDL grants from before. There's a lot of them. They're waiting. They have their application on file since June. They haven't got a penny. Then EIDL loans, you got to do EIDL loans with no cap. I have viewers that are entitled to, $300,000 loans, $500,000 loans, and you gave them $80,000 loans because you said there's a cap at $100,000. I mean, we got to stop that. Got to give people money. Liquidity. That's what Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve, said yesterday. Give people money. All right, so all this is categorically incredible. Does this discount or disqualify the chance of executive order? No, you can still have executive order. That's what's incredibly great news. So I want to make this very clear to you. You can still have executive orders. All right, so now that we understand the deal points, can this be gone and can this be done? I don't know. I'm not the predictor of nuances, but I will say to you this. Here's the backstory. The backstory is the president's never going to say this to you, but the backstory is that the jobless number came out Thursday morning, as I predicted. And as I predicted, it was bad. And as I predicted, that bad number is something that the president sees. And as I predicted, the bad number impacted Wall Street. And as I predicted, the president doesn't want Wall Street down. What's going on? Well, ultimately, Wall Street down 2 months before an election, 6 out of 6 times has kicked the incumbent president out. He sees that. He knows that. So he believes he can win if he can get Wall Street up. ultimately, my skepticism of this is that we hope that the president is not just doing antics, political theater to get Wall Street up and not to really give you stimulus. Yeah, I'm concerned about that. All right, let me talk to you about logistics. There's that thing called the Senate is closed. Yeah, it's still closed. Now, could the president pull another hat out of the rabbit out of the hat and get the Senate reopened and agree for Mitch to call votes electronically like the Purple Power has been asking? Oh, yes, he can. So Purple Power, push, push, push. You need to get the president to open the Senate for electronic voting. And I got to tell you, this is on message. This is on message with the president. If the president wants to talk about Supreme Court nominee, which is in Senate subcommittees, which can be electronic by remote, but they're not voting, they're just talking, then president, if you want stimulus and you want a stimulus law and you also want a Senate, to do stuff with the judiciary people, then order Mitch to reopen for electronic voting. It's as simple as that. You see how things are sort of simplistic when we make them easier to understand? Now, what else is really at issue here? What's at issue here is another factor, and this is really the thing hitting the fan. The president is down. The president is down, and it's the 11th hour, and he needs to pull a rabbit out of the hat. He's apparently not going to debate. He made an announcement this morning that he will refuse to debate because they're only offering him a virtual debate, so he's refusing to debate. The Pence-Harris debate last night, is not going to make a big difference in the polls. They were both decent. They were both pretty good. So there was nothing dramatic where someone won so much, someone lost so much. They're both pretty good. So it's not going to make a big change in the polls. So with the president down 10 to 14% of the polls everywhere, swing states everywhere. He has only 26 days, hence the reason for this channel, to do something dramatic. And this is the twist that you need to understand, Purple Power. A person who's behind in the polls and is trying to use stimulus relief as a way to win himself back into office, who's against someone who's trying to use stimulus relief to keep him out of office, how does this play out? Nancy doesn't want stimulus to turn into an e-ticket for the president to get reelected. She's not that stupid. She specifically doesn't want stimulus checks to go out by themselves because the president will use that a way to get votes. She doesn't want it to look like he won something so that he will say, hey, I won something, reelect me. So you have really competing forces here. But here's my opinion. My opinion is the president at some point, if it's today, yes, maybe it was yesterday, is going to get a sense of reality that he needs to do stimulus at all costs because he has nothing else besides the Supreme Court nominee to do a massive reversion in the polls in just 26 days. And so in that circumstance, he really does not have a lot of room to negotiate for negotiations. He may have to throw the kitchen sink at Nancy Pelosi, take the deal that she has offered, and declare himself the victor, which he's not, and say, hey, I won, reelect me. Ultimately, if Nancy gets exactly what she wants, can she turn him down because she doesn't want him to have a stimulus package and try to win? Yeah, it's interesting. So my opinion for the Purple Power is demand the kitchen sink. Demand the kitchen sink from this president because ultimately his back is against the wall. Demand hazard pay. Demand $1,200. Hey, you want to demand $2,000 checks every month for 6 months? Demand that as well. Demand that the stimulus checks be changed from $1,200 to $2,000. Demand at FPUC be exactly $600 and be retroactive to, March. I mean, demand whatever you want to demand because these are people who are literally fighting for their political future. It's sort of like Lindsey Graham. If you did not see what's going on with Lindsey Graham, the Senate race where he is the most expensive in U.S. history, and there's millions and millions and millions of dollars coming in because they're trying to flip a seat that has not been flipped to Democratic since 1963. So these are efforts to do incredible things at the last second. And when you're down to the very last second, you do incredible things. And this is why there's a Purple Power delegation. If you've not heard, this morning I launched Purple Power Delegates, and Purple Power Delegates is very simple. You go on Twitter, you have to have a Twitter account, you go on Twitter, and if you are looking for a Purple Power Delegate, you don't hit me up and say, where is it? Where do I find this person? Don't send me a DM on Facebook. Don't go on Instagram or Facebook or, another platform and say, help me find a delegate. They're on Twitter. It's a Twitter platform. We're only going to use Twitter. Then on the Twitter platform, you go into the search bar at the top, and you look for the hashtag P, like Paul, like purple, then your state's initials. If it's Texas, it's TX. So PTX would be for a Purple Power Delegate in Texas, space, hashtag LALATE. You look for those two hashtags, P Texas LALATE, hashtag LALATE, or PCA LALATE if you're looking for a Purple Power Delegate in California. Looking for one in North Carolina, PNC LALATE. One hashtag, PNC, another hashtag LALATE. And that will come up with people who have started to tweet with that hashtag behind their tweets because they want to say, hey, I'm a delegate. I have volunteered to become a delegate in my state to help other people. How do you become a delegate? It's self-appointed. It's self-appointed. It's grassroots. I'm not overseeing it. I'm not having anything to do with what you do or how you say or how you talk. This is all grassroots. It's about helping one another. And so ultimately, you see someone that says, I'm ready to help you, by putting that hashtag behind it, that is someone to help you. There can be more than one delegate in a state. You could at any time become a delegate, then choose not to become a delegate. You're here to help people. Do a lot of stuff in DM if you need to. Keep things private off the internet, especially for financial and personal and economic information, such as, if you're talking about UI or PUA, don't put, your social security number on Twitter. I mean, it's sort of obvious. Captain Obvious is walking through this set right now. But here you go. We can do this. It's a spirit of helping others. It's a spirit of getting through. I always told you never give up hope. I always told you never lose faith. And the power of the purple has absolutely been incredible. The president reverted his policies in the last 40 hours because of purple power. His team has seen the reaction of purple power, seats for stimulus, and LALATE. It's because of the movement from this channel, some people call it a revolution, to say, hey, we need bipartisan stimulus relief, and this is a bunch of silliness, and you don't give us relief, you're out. And I should hope that Seats for Stimulus continues its push as well. So Purple Power push for Seats for Stimulus as well, and make it very clear to those people that if they don't give you stimulus, they're gone. The day started with first-time jobless claims at a very bad number, and the president saw this. 825 was what Wall Street had predicted. 840 were for first-time jobless claims. This is the most consecutive number of weeks over 800,000 since the Great Depression. It has been over 800,000 every single week since mid-March. This is not working. The economy is not moving. The economy is stagnant. It's called stagnant. And if you include inflation with a stagnant economy, which the economy does have, it does have inflation, Jerome Powell, you're facing stagflation, which is something you absolutely don't want. Stagflation could absolutely erode the economy for a very long time. I shut down talks 2 days ago because they weren't working out, said the president, and now they're starting to work out. We're starting to have some very productive talks. I said, look, we're not getting anywhere. Shut it down. I didn't want to waste time, but in any event, we got back. Both sides are very capable. We got back. We started talking again. We're talking about airlines. We're talking about a bigger deal than airlines. We're talking about a deal of $1,200 per person. We're talking about other things. And we're talking about Purple Power Delegates. Go to the Furnace channel, subscribe, because we're all here to help one another, and we're here to get to the finish line, and we're getting through it. This should be the most watched channel on YouTube. The algorithm has been a little screwy lately, so make sure you like this video. There's some people out there that are putting out 2-minute videos that don't say much of anything, and they're telling you about how the UFOs are going to come down and take your stimulus check, and they're apparently ranking pretty well, because I guess there's some UFO viewers. So make sure this video ranks higher. Coming up next is Afternoons LA at 3:30 Pacific Standard with more developments as well. It's a great day. It's a great morning. It's a better lighting. The sweater's gone. I'm here. You're here. Pete the Peacock, Lainey the Dragon, and all my cats and dogs. See you this afternoon. As always, take care and God bless.